Hey, kia ora, Helen Brahms here, coming to you live from Escondido, California. And yes, I am wearing Gus today. I gotta remember, yeah, whatever. Um, I had to try Gus on because I had to see if how Gus fitted with the haircut. So I'll show you that in a minute. But somebody probably went, Gus, why is she referring to her hat as Gus? Because that's what it's called. See, hat on. Okay, a bit of a hat here, but see, it says right there, Gus. It's a Stetson. Oh, hang on. Stetson. See? Stetson. And it's called Gus. And Gus refers to the crown. And this is the front. This is the back. Lower, higher. It's called a Gus. And it's not a hat. It's a Stetson. So had to see how it fitted. It actually, despite all the hair that got taken off today, this fits so much better. There was a lot of hair. It's still looking pretty flat because of the weight, but it took and I got to give a huge shout out to Tasman at Sunshine Salon and Spa in Poway, San Diego. She did a phenomenal job. It took her an hour and a half. And you guys know I have short hair, but it's very thin, and there is a lot of hair on my head. At one point, I'm sitting there and I'm like brushing my hand backwards and forwards from my hair, and it's raining white hair down onto the floor. It was a mess. It was a hot mess. It hadn't been cut in 13 weeks, and my next cut is going to be in January before my next road trip. So it's going to be another mess. But while she's cutting it, two other stylists at different times came over and like swept up all the hair that was around the chair and took it and go, man, that's a lot of hair. And the first time somebody did that, all she had done was just the sides. She had done the two sides. She still had the back to do and still had on top to do. And so she'd just done the sides, and it was enough for a regular person's trim. And I had two more batches like that get swept away. So I have short hair, but I have a lot. So today was a nice quiet beginning. Took Zeffie up to the park, and oh my gosh, I have got to figure out, I got to get her a longer leash for when we're in the park. When we're in the RV parks, when you walk around the RV parks, they limit you to the length of leash that you can have your dogs on, and most of them are 6 feet. Some allow you to go to 12, but most of them are 6 feet. So I have, I think I have a 4 and a 6. But I do want to get a longer lead because I want to practice commands with her, like come and stay, and being able to walk away and all of that, and have her stay there, because it's very hard to do that with a 6-foot lead. So I'm going to look at getting like a 20 or a 30. I might even get a 30-foot. But it would be so much fun to have one of those at the park, because the park has this big grass area, then it has this paved path that goes around it. It's got a children's play area. Sorry, I've got hair up my nose. I got hair everywhere. Little bits from off here. Can't wait to get it washed again. And so they have this big grass area in the middle. I thought, well, I'm going to take her onto the grass. And it's that kind of grass that you get by the ocean, type of texture. And I have no idea what it's called. I'm not a grass person. All I know is that I see this type of grass near a beach. And it's sort of a harder wearing grass. And anyway, so I get her onto that, and it's a little damp. Well, she's tiptoeing along the grass, and all of a sudden she'll take this massive leap and try to bolt. But of course she pulls herself up. She comes to a sudden stop in 6+, however long my arm is. And it was just hilarious. And she kept doing this all across the grass. And I couldn't figure out why. This guy turns to me, this guy who's walking around the park, he says, oh, my dog does the same thing. They can't stand the wet grass. I said, well, she's getting used to grass because most of her life she's never been on grass. She's only been on concrete or dirt. And I said, so this is kind of one of her first experiences with grass. But it's actually her third time I've taken her on grass. But yeah, it was hilarious watching her do that. Then came back from the walk. She was a little unsettled last night. I think one of the treats that I gave her, of those like everlasting, well, I call them the everlasting dog treats, gave her a little bit of digestive issues. And so we had to get up at 2 o'clock this morning to go outside and take care of that. So we did have a bit of broken sleep last night, but that was okay. I'd rather she woke me up and got me outside so that she could do that rather than having to try and clean up that mess inside. And so got up, had a shower, took her for a walk, came back, and got did some Zooms this morning with great tell you, getting back into networking again is awesome. And even though I can't be there in person to do a lot of networking, being able to do it on Zoom where you're one-on-one with the person, it is, it's really, really cool. I'm loving it. Getting to know some great people. Did some brainstorming with somebody on their business. They asked for some advice, gave them some advice. I said, here's what I would do. You can either take the advice or leave it. Completely up to you. This is what I do. So it was good doing that. Then I had to, and in the meanwhile, I hadn't taken. Normally, I put Zeffie's bed into the crate at night so she's got something to sleep on, and I don't typically leave it there during the day because she likes to be up on the couch. And I had left it in there this morning, and I was sitting on the couch just having some quiet, just having some downtime before I had to leave to head off to the my hair appointment. And she gets up and walks into a crate and lays down on her bed and curls up like she knew I was going to go somewhere. We hadn't talked about it yet, but she went into the crate and she was in there. And when it came time for me to go, I just locked up the crate, grabbed my stuff and walked out the door. Got to the car and realized I didn't have my water bottles. Had to come back in and grab that. And she just put her head up, back, looked at me, put her head back down, and went back to sleep. So she had a good day. I came back. She wasn't whining. She was still curled up on the bed and stuff. Let her out and. She did all of her big stretches and all that sort of stuff. And we went for a car ride, had to go pick up a couple of bits and pieces. So she came for a car ride with me, and then we went for another walk. And then I was trying to have lunch, and I had eggs and bacon and ham and cheese and had it on my plate here in front of me. And if you look on my Facebook page, you will see her. I caught her with her tongue out licking her chops, but I wasn't quick enough to catch her. She had her head stretched across my laptop because my laptop's sitting on one side of the table. My plate was sitting over here with the food on it, and she was on the far side of the table there, and she was actually stretched across the laptop as far as her little neck would let her go, sniffing, and then she pulled her head back and licked her chops, and that's when I took the picture. It was absolutely hilarious. And she kept looking, and then she sat there very pretty, and she's like whining. I'm like, where's mine? And I'm so like, yeah, no. We don't do human food. Your food's over here. And so when she realized she wasn't getting anything, she laid down and went, huh. And I just cracked up laughing. She's keeping me highly entertained. I've been doing a lot of laughing. So got this. So then when I got this all shared off and everything else, did some more connecting through the Zooms and stuff. Got some writing done, which was awesome. Love doing my writing. Came up with some more ideas, and I'm getting inspired a lot lately. One of my favorite authors, C.G. Cooper, and you've heard me talk about him a lot, especially about the book called To Live, which is a novel that has affected me like no other novel has ever affected me before. And it's about a guy who is retiring from the company that he's been working at for however long he's been working there. He finds out the day that he's retiring he's got cancer. Not long after he retires, his wife passes away, and it was either Parkinson's or MS or some terminal some chronic illness that she had, and she gets him to promise that he's going to go and to live, basically to live. And so he's trying to figure out what that is, and in the meantime he befriends this troubled 16-year-old and helps her through her thing, and she helps him figure out the to live thing. So they have this nice little friendship going, almost like a grandfather-granddaughter relationship. And when I read it was in August, so it was just before Brad's first anniversary of his passing. And it was very raw, very real for me, and that book ended up flying across the room a couple of times. And I bought several copies, and I've given several copies away and all that sort of thing as well, because it just affected me so much. But what he's done is he has got this, it's called Mighty Network. And so he's got this, it's a system, it's this networking thing called Mighty Network, and he's got his group on there. He took it off Facebook onto Mighty Network, and we have this great interactive conversations with him and all that. He'll put questions out there, we'll answer them. We get very creative with our answers, but some of the questions he's been putting out there, like he's currently in Paris with his family, and he was describing this scene where he was looking out the bus window, and he described the scene that he saw, and this person he saw standing there, and described this person going, who is she? Is she a spy? Is she, who is she? And so we all came back with different responses and all of that. And my response was something like, what did I put there? Oh, that she is a lady. He said about in her 60s with gray hair and all that. So my response was, she is a lady of the night who owns a very high-end exclusive escort agency, but her escorts are not just escorts. They are very good at spying and assassinations, and they do what I call natural assassinations, where they use where an autopsy is done and it looks like they died of natural causes. So that was like my response. And others came back with that, some high successful businesswoman, she's some dame, and all sorts of things coming back and all of that sort of thing. And then he said, if you're going to have a supervillain, what trade would they have? And he listed like about 5 or 6 different trades. Well, most people were picking things like an investment banker would be a good one because they could see all the finances and stuff, and others were putting like the baker, and then they were doing like a Sweeney Todd thing where they ground up the body and bake it into the food and all of that sort of thing. And it's like, it sounds very Sweeney Todd thing. What else was there? There was a baker, the used car salesman, lady of the night, and a gondolier. And so you had to put down what would make a good supervillain and why. I kind of got a little creative, and I had them all being part of the same gang and all having different roles and stuff. And he's he inspires my creativity with the questions that he comes out with. And I kind of like the fact that he's interacting. I love the fact that he interacts with his readers. We're all great fans of his books. He does a series called The Corp Justice, which is these former military personnel who are together, and they start off in a security company, and they can become like a black ops team for the president and all this sort of stuff, and lots of great sort of action and really good stories. And then he wrote something completely out of the norm, To Live, and then he wrote another book called Warden's Son, which is about a kid coming of age whose family moves around a lot because his dad goes into different prisons to help clean them up, and that sort of thing. And that book reminded me a lot of my childhood because we moved around a lot as well. We were, always the new kid on the block type of thing. And so that book reminded me a lot of my childhood and some of the people I met along the way as we were moving and things like that too. So brought back some childhood memories, even though it's a completely different situation. There was a lot of stuff that is still the same, being the new kid on the block and discovering things and running around with your siblings and getting into all sorts of mischief with them, or trying to get them into mischief, or they're trying to get you into mischief, that kind of sibling stuff. And then so he's got the Corp Justice series. So if you would like to join up with the Mighty Networks, let us know, and I will get you the link so you can join up with his thing. He's always asking very thought-provoking questions, which inspires me to go and sit down and have a writing session. So I had a really good writing session today because of him. Then I just had fun just being. Tonight I had a couple of calls when I got back after the hair and all of that sort of thing. And then I met up with a neighbor, become friends with a couple here, and helping them through some challenges that they're having, which is similar to stuff that I went through with Brad. So that's kind of cool to be back in that environment again, and to be able to, not be in that environment again, but to be able to help somebody who is in that environment and dealing with the challenges that can come from medical issues and cancer and that sort of thing. So thinking it's about time I went back to Immerman Angels and started doing the mentoring there again too. So, a lot of growing going on this year. I was just sitting on the couch there just being, and Zeffie was curled up next to me, and she lets me know when she wants her belly scratched and that sort of thing. She gets her paw and just whacks mine, and so I say, come on. Then she'll nudge my hand with her nose, says, come on, I want some scratches. So just sitting there and just reflecting on the changes that have happened this year, from where I was at the beginning of the year to now. There's been a lot of growing going on, So it was nice to just sit and be in the moment, but also to reflect on where I was at the beginning of the year and where I am now. Completely different living situation. Moved into the RV, been traveling around. Went down to New Zealand for Christmas last year. Came back in January. Bought the RV in May. My parent went down to New Zealand again in July for my brother's 50th. Then my parents came over in August and we did 3,227 miles. Then had some time back here in San Diego with family, and then it was off to explore in Arizona. And now I'm back here in Escondido. I'm here through at least to just before Christmas, because then they're sold out. But we're waiting to see if there's cancellations. But got backup plans in place, or working on backup plans. But I'm also starting to plan my trip next year, and that's going to take place when I'm going to start on the road again, beginning of February next year, heading over to Orlando in Florida, and then I'm going to take a month to get across, then I'm going to probably take 2, maybe 3 months to meander my way back to California. So be on the road for a bit, but it's exciting. It's done a lot of growing this year, a lot of changes and a lot of growing, and I'm enjoying it. And I'm back into networking again with the polka dots and loving the connections on that. And I've taken on the role as one of the mastermind coordinators for their diamond level. So that's going to be an interesting challenge. And I'm loving the people that I'm meeting, and just having fun. Get out there and have fun. Yeah, have fun. Spend time with family. When we're coming up to Thanksgiving, and we should be grateful every day. On my mirror in my bedroom, it says begin every day with a grateful heart. So I wake up every morning and I see that, and I go, today I'm thankful for. And this before I've even woken up and got up. I'm thankful for my weighted blanket, because it is freezing cold in my RV. It's down to 52 degrees in my RV, I think the lowest I've had the temperature in the RV was 43. Yeah, there was some scrambling on that one, because I was in my note shirt, so I was quickly scramble out of bed, throw some warm pants on, and some socks and some slippers and a sweatshirt and a robe, and come out and find the heater and plug that in. And we've actually got the heater going right now, because it got cold really quick, and we were expecting rains to come through. They've got flash flood warnings and watches out for the area. So the next couple of days it's supposed to be very wet. And I'm kind of cringing a little bit, because I haven't had a chance to have anybody come look at my roof yet to figure out the leaking issue. So I'm kind of hoping that we don't get any rain tomorrow, so I can figure out a way to get up there and have a look. But it's been a good day. So, take time to just sit, reflect, just be. You don't need to be on electronic, just sit. I mean, I was just sitting on the couch there with Zephy and just petting her, and she was just snuggled up next to me and sleeping, and just reflecting on, what this year's done so far, and, and how I'm starting to gain back some of the stuff that I enjoyed doing before Brad passed, like networking being one of them. Getting to do some more I've done more traveling this year than I did last year, the year before, than I've done in the last 2 to 3 years. So it's been good, and I'm very grateful and blessed, and very thankful that I now have Zephy in my life, because it hasn't even been 2 weeks, and I haven't laughed this much in this short amount of time, and I really can't remember when. It's being by yourself. There's times you do get lonely, and you're watching something funny and you laugh out loud, and you sort of feel like, I don't know, yes, you can laugh and you get the good belly laughs and going, but then you suddenly realize that it's just you that's laughing, and there's nobody around there to share that joy with. But Zephy, in the week and a half that she's been with me, has had me laughing so much with her antics and stuff. We come back, from a 2 to 3 mile walk, and she very slowly climbs up the stairs into the RV, and then kind of quickly turns around, waits for me to take the leash off, and as soon as I unhook that leash, she is doing lengths of the RV like nuts. She gets up on the bed, spins around, flies off the bed. She goes from the bed, leaps from the bed, past the shower, comes down here by the shower and refrigerator, which are next to each other, and then takes off, goes up on the couch, leaps off that. I mean, she's only taking about 4, maybe 5 running steps between furniture. But she does that for a couple of minutes, and then all of a sudden she comes flying off the couch, and water, stop, have a drink, boop, and off we go again. So she's taught me a lot to live in the moment and enjoy the moment and just breathe. So that's my advice for you is go be, just sit quietly, reflect, enjoy the moment, just be in the moment. If you're not sure how to do that, just listen to your breathing. One of my mentors, Yvonne, tells me, just sit there and breathe and listen to the breath coming in and listen to it going out. So take a moment to go sit for a few, breathe, put the phones down, turn the computers off, turn the TVs off. Basically just turn the electronics off and just be. Just enjoy the peace, the quiet, the moment. Listen to the sounds around you. I now have new neighbors. They have a little baby. I don't know if that's going to affect me tonight or not, but I came back. These people were away. The RV was there, but they were away. This lot was empty. I came back today for my haircut. There's now a fifth wheel on that, and I see lots of bikes and little people stuff outside. And then there was a vehicle out front of this RV, so they're back as well. So it's getting full in the thing as we get closer to Thanksgiving. So take a moment to be thankful for what you have. Count your blessings. Be in the moment. Have a super fantastic sparkling evening, and we will catch you guys tomorrow. He konera.